So, we move to the next module of this course. In the earlier module, we have seen some example problems, and the problems which can be some example problems which can be solved through programming using computers. And also we said that all problems cannot be solved by computers, right. So, what are the problems that can be solved using computers? That is a natural question that can be asked. The answer to that is that if we know if it is known what are the steps that we must execute or perform in order to arrive at the desired result, then we can solve it by programming. Now, those steps may be directly known. For example, in the case of finding the average marks in a class for n students, we know the steps, right. So, let us see if we write down the steps following which we can solve this problem, how would it look like? I want to read one number. Suppose I am reading 4 numbers. I want to find the average of 4 numbers. Read means I just know, get. I can also say get first number, to get second number, suppose we want to find for 3 numbers, get third number, add the numbers, that means first number plus second number plus third number, and let that be the sum, and then I say divide sum, that is this sum, by the number of numbers and what is the number of numbers? Number of numbers here is 3 because there are 3 numbers, and then say announce result. So, this one divide the sum by numbers. So, that is something like say something like this, that result is equal to sum divided by 3 in this case, right, and announce result. So, these steps are very well known, very clear, and since these are very clear, so I can solve them by programming. Okay. Why? Because programming, what is programming? Programming is informing a computer as how to solve a particular problem. So, I can say, let me just do it afresh. Programming is nothing but letting the computer know how to solve a problem. Now, there are some important aspects to this sentence, this phrase. Letting the computer know is one important thing, but what do we let the computer know? How to solve a problem. So, how to means I have to tell the computer that what are the steps to be followed to solve a problem. I have to be very clear about it, and I have to let the computer know. So, there is a big problem here, how I will let the computer know, I will come to that later. The steps to be followed is what we have to tell the computer. So, in the earlier example we just saw that the steps for finding the mean of 3 numbers are very clearly stated, and I can inform the computer. Often this is informing the computer is also known as instructing the machine. The machine is nothing but the computer itself, and these are the computer instructions. A program therefore consists of a number of instructions to be executed. Now, the example that we saw was for adding 3 numbers. Now, we will soon see that the thing becomes a little more complex. If I wrote get first number, get second number, get third number, suppose there are 20 numbers, then I will have to write them 20 times, get first number, get second number, get third number, like that up to get 20th number. That is boring, is not it? So, instead I can possibly write that for 20 numbers, let me do it in a let me do a number here. For 20 numbers repeatedly get number, all right. That is possible. So, for 20 numbers I will be getting the numbers. So, I do not need to write down 1 get first number, 2 get second number, 3 get third number, not like that. I can straightway with one instruction I can express myself, but whether this will be understood by the computer or not is a different question. So, I am keeping that question open. Understood by machine, and whenever I talk about machine, I mean a computer, all right. So, for 20 numbers get number, in that way I can say that, or say I could have written that in a little more smarter form. Let me try to do that. Now, if I do that, then what would be the next one? I have to add those 20 numbers. So, one thing is that again I can write here add number 1, number 2, number 3 up to number 20, then divide sum by 20. There is one way of saying that, but this is again boring, right? This is very boring. I mean, it is not interesting to look at this. Why should I write in this dot 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 form? Instead, say I can write it in a smarter form. Say I write it in this way, and you just see whether you can understand what I am writing. For 20 numbers, I am using my own language. Okay? It is not a computer's language, it is an English and it is a version, my version of English, all right. I just need to express it to you, and then whether that will be understood by the computer or not is a different question, and we will address it separately. Okay. For 20 numbers, get number, sorry, I say repeat get number or let me add the number with the current sum. That means, presently whatever is the value of sum, I add that number that I read with that. Now, initially therefore, what should be the current sum? Initially when I am starting, the sum is 0, all right. So, I can say let sum be 0 initially. Now, I get a number, add the number to the current sum, and this repeat, I am just using my, so just showing as if it is a bracket, that this part I am repeating, I am repeating this part. How many times I am repeating this part? This part I am repeating, how many times I am repeating? 20 times, because for 20 numbers I am getting the number, adding the number, getting the number, adding the number, and I am going on doing this and adding the number, and I am keeping that number in sum, all right. So, ultimately I do it 20 times and then this part is finished. Then what I have to do? So, this was step 1, this was step 2, this was step 3. So, this step 3 was repeated 20 times. I am sorry, let us make it sorry. Actually, this is the second step which I did 20 times, and after that I have got all the numbers added. So, next I come and I say result is sum divided by 20. So, that will be my result, and then I can announce the result, print the result, whatever. So, here you see in the earlier example what I did is read first number, read second number, read third number, read fourth number, like that. Here I have just expressed it in a smarter way, that for 20 numbers do this activity repeatedly 20 times. So, that is another way I can express it, all right. And that shows that I can specify very clear steps by which the problem can be solved. And since I can specify the steps, clear steps through which the problem can be solved, this problem can be solved by programming. Okay. I can program a machine to solve this problem. So, similarly, say how many times the second problem that we had looked at, how many times a particular word human occurs in a particular text. So, I have to do something like this. I have to open the text, I have to see, look at the text and read a word and see, is it human? No. Is it human? No. Is it human? Yes. So, I will have to have some sort of counter, some sort of a counter or count, which I will increase every time I encounter the word human, and this will go on as many times for every word in the text. So, I can write that down as for every word in the text if the word is human, increment count. So, this will go on only if the word is human, I will increment the count, otherwise I will go on reading the word. So, this is a very clear step which I can express to the computer in its own way, so that it can find out how many times the word human has occurred. Now, there are different other variants of this that I had told you, that whether it is a human being or whether it is an equivalent man, woman, boy, girl, whether it refers to a human being or not, then obviously the instruction will be a little more complicated than this. So, in these ways, so I once again come back to my statement that what are the problems that I can solve using a computer? I can solve the problems where I can enunciate, I can express the clear steps, set of steps one after another, by which I can solve the problem correctly. Okay? So, that is now, for example, now if we take the example of that searching in a maze, where I was trying to use the diagonal, up, down, whichever, there also I can express some intelligent ways by which I can instruct the computer to approach the problem. But everything, as I said, do not render themselves to such enunciation of very clear steps. I do not really know, I really do not know exactly that. Maybe either the problem is not well understood. I mean, a student, a friend of yours is feeling depressed, is not feeling well. Now, there may be, you really do not know exactly what is the reason for that. If you know the reason, then you can try to solve it, help him out. Now, when the problem is not well understood, then of course, we cannot solve it in such clear, through such clear steps. If the information that you are getting are not very reliable, then also there are ways and means by which we can think of how we can get a good enough solution. Another thing is that there are some things which we do not know. So, we cannot solve that using programming, or maybe some cases where the problem is so complicated. For example, solving the problem of hunger, all right. Now, obviously, if you say buy food, give food, by that hunger will be solved. Now, that is too simplistic solution, and that is not a realistic solution. There are many angles, many interacting variables which are working towards that. So, that is not directly amenable to solving using programming. So, however, we have been able to give an idea of the category of problems which can be attempted to be solved by programming. And I have also said what is programming. Once again, programming is the set of instructions I am rewriting it in different way. set of instructions to be provided to a computer to solve a problem. Now, a computer is an electronic machine. Till now, what I was doing, I was writing the set of the statements in the form of somehow like English. So, you could understand that, but a computer being an electronic machine will not be able to understand that. An electronic machine is made of switches. So, since it is made of switches, it will understand only it understands only zeros and ones. Okay. So, whatever I say, get number. Now, each of these get and number, there is one simple instruction, or you can always understand this, all of you can understand this, but for a computer I will have to somehow write it in the form of some zeros and ones. So, maybe something like this 0 0 0 1 1 1 0 0. Suppose this is representing get, and number can be this NUMBR, that number can be say 1 1 1 0 0 0 1 0 1, something like that. So, that is a completely different type of expressions, alphabets. So, the way we are writing it here cannot be directly understood by the computer. I think in the last lecture I had mentioned that how to let the computer know the steps. Now, if I want to let somebody know of, I want to express myself to somebody, I must do it in the form of a language that he or she understands. For example, whenever I am talking to a French person, I will have to talk in French, otherwise he will not understand if he does not know other languages, right. Similarly, if I encounter an alien, for example, I will have to talk in his language or I will not understand his language. Therefore, but how do you do that if I meet a person who does not understand my language? The natural solution is that we will have somebody who will be acting as an interpreter who understands both my language and the other party's language. So, he can understand my language and convert it to the other language. So, what is the other party's language? So, what are the parties here? Let us see. On one side it is we who want to do something, on the other side we have got this machine called computer, all right, this machine which is lying in front of you, all right. Now, I have to communicate with this machine and this machine will have to communicate to me, and this communication, but this understands its world consists of zeros and ones and my world consists of ABCDs, and with that I can say apple, but this apple to this machine is 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 1, something like that. So, I will not understand this to be apple and he will not understand this to be apple. So, there we need some sort of mechanism, that is, this is the translator, okay. Some sort of translation is required. So, we will be talking about this translation process in the next class, but before that Let us summarize what we have learned till now. We have seen that there are problems which can be solved by computers and there are problems which cannot be solved by computers. The problems which can be solved by computers we have to, in order to solve them, we have to express the specific steps to be followed for solving that particular problem. We have to express that to the machine. We have to express that to the machine in its own language somehow. We have to express it in its own language. And this specific steps, the steps that to be followed to solve a problem this is also known as algorithm. Algorithm consists of the specific steps or the methods that have to be followed in order to solve a problem. In the next lecture, we will see how we can express these algorithms. How can we express the algorithms? Okay? That is what we will do in the next module, next lecture. How can we express algorithms? There are different ways. Even, I mean, when I say how can we express algorithms, not to the computer, but maybe I want to communicate an algorithm to you or you want to communicate an algorithm to me. I was showing some examples in which I was writing in English. So, there are different ways of doing that. We will discuss that in the next class. Thank you.